So what can I say about this masterpiece of a movie that hasn't already been said? But more than anything, I wanted to make this video to talk about my experience watching this movie. I saw this movie. I mean, it wasn't my first time watching it, but I saw it with a live orchestra at the Davies Symphony Hall in San Francisco. It sounded beautiful, and watching this movie felt like a whole ass event, in the sense that people were dressed up and excited, and they were much more engaged than if it was in a regular screening. There was clapping and laughing, there was an intermission and beverages, and just the symphony hall, the area was just impressive, the venue. The conductor was absolutely killing it. That boy was into the fucking, whatever the conducting thing, whatever the fuck it's called, son? I felt like I was watching Bugs Bunny in action. You know that scene I'm talking about where he goes, oh wait, that's a different scene. Never mind. I'm telling you, hearing John Williams' score in the symphony hall and live was a lot of fun. At times, I just wanted to watch the musicians in action and was a little distracted by then, but I was just quite surprised by how impactful it was. It gave me even more goosebumps than if I would watch it on my TV. I saw this little kid dressed up as Indy, and it was like the cutest thing I ever saw. And I couldn't resist, and I needed to say hi to the kid, and I said, "Hi, Indy," from like a few yards away, and the family didn't notice, and neither did the kid, and I got ignored, and I felt so embarrassed, and I rushed away in embarrassment. It was hilarious, to say the least. I just wish going to movie screenings was more of an event. Like, for instance, Barbie. People are going up dressed in pink, and it's exciting, and people want to go watch the movie, and it's making a huge impact in mainstream media. Going to the Symphony Hall was exciting. It was an event. People were dressed up as Indiana Jones, or just dressed up looking nice because it was in a symphony hall. And it was a whole ass social event. There was an intermission, there was beverages, people were talking about the movie, discussing it amongst themselves. That's what a cinema should be, and I wish I had that experience more often. I'm trying to have that experience that Quentin Tarantino is always talking about. Okay, so the movie, I'm going to talk about it briefly because, I mean, come on, man. Everybody's reviewed this movie. Everyone's talked about this movie. My thoughts are just going to be like everybody else's, but here are some of my thoughts. And thoughts as in, coming from my brain, not the other thoughts. Spielberg is known for his use of camera movement and blocking, and there's a lot of that in this movie. It's something that I appreciate, and I wish I saw more often in blockbusters nowadays. There's lots of silent moments in the movie that you don't see, you don't see them in movies nowadays. Even in the action scene with Marion and Indy in the beginning, when Indy first sees Marion, there's like a whole ass like silent moment. Movies nowadays with an action scene opt for shaky cam and lots of like dramatic music. And the practical effects, this is something that I complained about in Indiana Jones 5, where there was just too much visual effects to the point where it was jarring and just loud and annoying. This movie is just full of practical effects. That whole opening sequence, with Doc Ock and Jock, that whole thing, the entire thing was just practical effects. No AI or, DH Indiana Jones. It was just some good old practical effects and Harrison Ford getting his ass whooped. And that's why I want to see my main character sweating, bleeding, getting his ass kicked. There needs to be action stars nowadays like that. And another thing I wanted to point out was that by the time Raiders of the Lost Ark released, Harrison Ford was like 40 years old. I'm just surprised by that. It goes to show that not everything has to go downhill past the age 30. You can still be an action star and kick ass in a major blockbuster movie. But also, who the fuck am I kidding? I peaked at 17. I could have gone pro. I could have been a contender. Also, I'm not Gary Vee. I'm not a motivational speaker. What the fuck am I saying? So, Indiana Jones, I obviously recommend you watch this movie if you haven't already. And I really recommend you try to find out if there's like a social event for watching movies near you, whether it's at a symphony hall with a live orchestra, or I don't know, just some kind of like double feature that your local theater is doing where there's beverages and intermission and where people are excited to go watch the movie. I recommend you try to have that experience. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be posting more videos like this one. My name is Indiana Jones, and I hate snakes, Jack! I hate them! da, 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 da.